They had 11 million viewers. They were getting $2 million,
Like,
damn near $3
he
million
looks the
an
way he
episode.
sounds
Those
now.
white kids that had no name recognition.
Our guy Terrence Howard, actor, he's actually went viral for wearing a pretty hilarious wig. Let's take a
There
look
are
here.
tears in my eyes. like how am I supposed to pay attention to this video?
Now CAA.
That's a lot of money. That should have been.
Well, let's go to another one.
I'm just saying.
CAA, Creative Artists Agency. They represented me. Mm-hmm. They also represented some of the people from Big Bang Theory. Mm-hmm. They also
pay attention.
to deal with Fox. Mm-hmm. My show was with Fox. The people from Big Bang was with Fox. Mm-hmm. We had 28 million viewers. They had 11 million viewers. Yeah. They were getting $2 million, damn near $3 million.
He looks the way he sounds now.
White kids that had no name recognition, no Oscar nominations, none of that. We have 28 million viewers, and these jokers are paying me $325,000 an episode. And I'm like, every year I'm asking
like
my
a black
agents,
BG.
what's going on? I didn't know that the packaging deal, my agents were incentivized to keep my pay low, so they'll go to Fox and
I can't even understand what he said. I can't stop laughing
because they were producers.
Nah.
Now, she's laughing at the fact that Terrence Howard has a wig on. He's as this wig is definitely of a straighter context for those who are listening, not watching, and he looks like something I guess a different culture would wear on a normal basis. Now, he did provide context in that interview. He was actually on set of a movie, and he was, that's the costume he had for that movie. Now, this is where Tommy comes into play. Tommy has always said, because he talks about weave a lot on his channel, and the fact that he doesn't like black women wearing wigs and weave, he prefers natural hair. He says often that if a black man were to walk around with a Tom Cruise wig on, that he would get straight clowned. And this is evidence of that, like in a nutshell. And they were just very ironic, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not trying to put anyone on blast, anything like that, but this is, public information. The young lady who is making this video, mocking him, I just wanted to point out a couple things, that you can see. She also has.
I'm at the beach, guys. It's a vibe. What I want to know is why the fuck me still depressed? Bumbuckler, me can't happy.
She also has, non-black textured hair as well. Now, the irony. So I think this would be a great thing to discuss. Do you view this as an issue first and foremost, as far as the hypocrisy? I call it hypocrisy, but what are your overall thoughts about this?
So first, I'll address the video with Terrence. I won't necessarily say that he was wearing that probably for beauty purposes. If anything, he was talking about something real right there too. So I believe Terrence Howard is smart. He also knows how media works. He's been in the game for a minute to know that if I do something outlandish, like if I wear this wig, I know that this clip is going to go so that maybe they can hear my message and my claim about how this CAA owes me money. and he's the recompense me. What was the man's name again? Sotomayor?
Tommy Sotomayor. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How he talks about weaves and wigs and just his disdain for them. I wouldn't really compare this in just mathematical terms, because I see one where the sister is wearing all the wigs and stuff for beauty is different from what Terrence Howard is doing. He's acting for one, which requires wigs, makeup, costumes. And again, this isn't necessarily for his beauty. Now, in response to wigs and weaves and my sisters being the main proponents of taking that image. Now, I'm not a big fan of human hair weaves, and it's more so for spiritual reasons. Why I find nothing wrong with enhancements, minor enhancements. I do find things wrong with changing and undergoing major surgical procedure just for a beauty standard. I believe Yeah, I'm not with that. I stand against that. If it's not necessary, we don't need to do that. And we have to raise your confidence up and your esteem up in your own womanhood and your own lane before we need to go to those procedures. We have a deeper spiritual issue there. But when it
Mm,
comes to the weaves and wigs, why I am not an advocate for it is because hair, again, a lot of us right now claim that we're into spirituality. Like some are like, oh, crystals, rocks, God, wherever they find their spirituality at. But then we often don't look at how wigs and weaves, hair in general, really any type of DNA or essence from you contains an energy. And you don't know where you're getting this hair from. You don't know. A lot of the times in foreign places, they sacrifice their hair unto a different god. They're praying over it. They're putting affirmations and just different spells and things over it. And you're just buying it from a vendor and you don't know what type of energy that has and where it came from. I do have an issue with that. I also will say, in terms of enhancements, it can be problematic for us to be so us positive, so Black beauty positive, and then look and try to obtain a beauty standard antithetical to what we actually are raised up. Either we love ourselves and we love our hair, and there's nothing wrong with, wanting to change up your style. But when you go to where you can only find beauty and you feel like you get all the attention, the men, etc., from a beauty standard that one now is based on stripper and sex work, and
mm.
two also goes back to, can I say that on? Because I know they be flagging stuff.
Oh, you definitely
Okay.
said it here.
Okay. um, as well as something that looks like your oppressor's standard of beauty, or how, I would say white patriarchy may have formed you to be, again, back into that caricature. We talk about the mulatto.
Yeah.
And in my book, I talk about the mulatto caricature and how now it's long hair, long straight hair, blonde hair. We're trying to, in our filters, make our noses smaller, contour our faces to be slimmer, and just do a lot of things that, again, we're forcing and literally torturing our hair to fit a certain texture when, again, this shouldn't be super straight. Look at it. It's going up. We go up to the sun. We grow up. We are formed and synonymous with trees and things like that. I do find an issue when that's not the real beauty standard promoted. But again, I don't necessarily blame some of our local women. I put the responsibility on those who are entertainers and allowing themselves to be tools for this, as well as the media companies who really, again, we can blame the entertainers, but the media companies know what will sell. They know how to formulate you into whatever caricature they need so that you can be presentable and get the deals. Because ultimately, the truth is that we also don't control those things. We may have a little bit of say, but they're still a product, and I would say a house Negro in a way with it. So
Yeah.
I do find issue with it. I do.
Well, I thank you for answering that. It was so powerfully stated. And I don't find anything wrong with what you stated, but I just have a follow-up question, if you don't
Mhm.
mind. When you say the media and the images and things of that nature, you hold them primarily accountable or responsible. I just find it curious that, you know, we can't outright say it's on, personal ownership. I know you did say that
Mhm.
within your statement, but are we saying that our women or people are just that impressionable that, we can't decipher what's good or bad for ourselves?
I am not saying that. What I am saying is that when I like to think about problems, I like to go to the source of it. The first and automatic source will be putting a certain people group that's already at a disadvantage in a system to where their only opportunities to make it out, at least for what looks good for them to have a social life that they have, a career that isn't as draining, even though that's what it looks like to us. But those people work all the time. So they are
No
also,
doubt.
again, like I said, still enslaved in a bit. When the people that fund and can fund these lifestyles and can even put it on your right to your phone, they can run an ad and target you, and they have all this knowledge that you as a people group, majority of y'all, 95% of y'all do not have. Y'all do not have the funds, resources, and even really the first image of that even being what your beauty standard is. That's something that has been distorted. I am saying the origin of the blame as far as media presence goes back to those who run the media. I'll say the origin of the decision and the origin of us having to educate our daughters to not choose that, and being the teachers, and that does rely with us, because we wouldn't be in this position had we not even try to remove ourselves or follow after other people, or remove ourselves from the Most High or try to follow after other people from the start. So we have the utmost capacity to discern. But right now, again, we are not educating our children to be able to discern. We tell them no for certain things. And again, telling some of these kids just no right now just means I'm just going to make the skirt shorter. I'm just going to do whatever I want, versus telling them the tools. This is what I like. And especially in my second book, Hot to Wholesome, I'm not telling you what is good, bad, or evil. I am telling you to discern. I am giving you the tools and the willpower and the wisdom and the practices of wisdom to be able to discern, okay, if I do if I do wear weave, in this case for the topic, if I do wear weave, what are some potential consequences that can come to that? What energy might I attract by wearing this type of hair? Do I even look like myself? Is this the type of woman that I want to portray? What type of woman do I want to be in the long run? Do these things add up? Like, do I actually feel beautiful in this? Or is it just because Megan Thee Stallion has this hair that I now need to mimic after it? So going into a lot of that, but I think where we lack as a people, because I also agree that if Beyonce said no, and any other Beyonce that would come down, there wouldn't be a Beyonce to manipulate and run and control if we just had that power. And that's from the earliest stages. Even Madam C.J. Walker, if she had never made that perm, would it have been? These were still tools and variables that were used in the equation. But if you remove yourself from the equation altogether, it would have never been a problem of your destruction. And I think we just more so have to have reign over our own. We have to rule over our own kingdom, both as a people group and then individually within our homes. And going back to some of Tommy's comments, I'm also a big believer in you need to rule your own kingdom. So as a man, you go get the men in order. You talk with sisters that can align with you, and you let the sisters go get the sisters in order. If it's your family, that man and that wife, that mother and that father, you rule your own kingdom. Now you still have community, but ultimately you have, again, rule your own kingdom, and don't let anybody else rule it under their principles, especially when it's chaotic. And that's not who the Most High even designed us to be,
Absolutely, beautifully said. Rule your own kingdom. That's my. I'm gonna get a shirt to say that. I'm gonna steal that from you, just so you know. No, I'm just joking.
Just give me 10%. I'm good.
Yeah. I got you. But no, seriously, I think that's my whole motive, and it's the purpose of this channel, and it's just that's what drives me every single day. I want to be a representative of everything I would love to see in our community, and I'm creating that with this nuclear family that I'm building. And I think, just going back to what we were just talking about here, I just have a question on, are they necessarily emulating what they see with the images, or are they just a result of the images around them? Because I'm of the belief that a lot of the first time women hear that the hair is nappy, which we've turned to a negative term, that you need to get a perm, or you need to go do such and such, that looks more like the image of European standard of beauty. The first time they hear it is from their home and from their mother. So I want to ask you personally, based on going from hot to wholesome, was the hot part of your journey, was that a representation of what you saw, or was that you already have wholesome women around you and you just rebelled?
I think it was a mix of both. I always grew up in church and having those, I always knew what God required of me. But again, when I'm looking out into the world, and as a kid, sometimes as a kid, you are less concerned with what is right and wrong versus fitting in and having friends and being normal. What I will say too, though, is kids today don't necessarily have that other option to see. It's one thing, again, to even be able to discern, but if the good is always hidden and you can barely find the good, or it's so controversial, or in terms of how you dress and look, like, because I'll be real, when I first came in and people were like, oh, you gotta be modest. The people that was telling me, because I'm a fashion girl, I'm like, don't want to look how you looking. Like, respectfully, I love that for you. If that's your lane you want to walk in, but that just don't work for me. That will
Yeah.
hinder my spirit entirely. But so yeah, I think we have to start raising up those righteous images and making them just as popular as these other images, just so that children can have a choice. I don't want to take anyone's free will away from them. If you would like to choose good, please choose it. Honor the Most High. If you would like to choose evil, choose it. That's your character that you got to play too. And I'm not going to stop the Most High's plan for what he got planned for your life, good, bad, or ugly. But I think we do need the righteous women and the old, because at first it was Claire, and although Claire's hair was straight, which is why it got, brought in, but it was Claire. Claire was classy. It was Regine. These were, even though she was a little loose too, but like these images, and they were classy. It wasn't as, I would say, loose as it is now. And that's why it's really a kid issue, because we got to see the transition of it to where we were a little bit more grounded. Right now, those 20 and under are completely in a digital age. They're completely in an age that follows after vainglory, whether that is money, attention, likes, etc. And that is all that's promoted. You don't have anymore where you have our community being on TV and promoting something good. Like, you don't have good times anymore. Nobody's watching that type of stuff. Nobody's looking at those images. Right now, when we look at our images, it's reality TV, not good for our young girls or young men or for the nuclear family at all. You have entertainers, Beyonce, Megan Thee Stallion, all these women that are selling sex and lust and witchcraft as well. We don't have those images. And again, it's partly to blame on who keeps funding these things, because we only have a 1.7 trillion buying power, allegedly. We only have that. So the people that are funding these things and are even being able to put them onto our screens and get the ad dollars, again, I do still place blame on them, as well as for just constructing a full system to keep us at bay. They will have to recompense and pay for what they did, but we also, again, as the variable still in it, we have to stand tall too and give our children different, and stop just letting everybody in the system raise your children. We need to start having those tight-knit communities and being around each other again. Like neighborhoods were community. You knew, like you said, you couldn't do too much or you didn't want to hear about it. So the whole community had eyes on you. So if you stepped out of line, you might not even have to wait for your mom to get home. You're getting popped up by somebody's grandma because you're acting out of order. We still do need that. And we need to rebuild it, because we've lost it very quickly, I would say, in the past 30 years.
Absolutely. That's so true. And it was always there. It was just hidden. Like I've been spending a lot of time with my grandparents. My grandfather's passed now, but within the last 6 years, I spent a lot of time with them and hearing just stories of them being, one of me, like I was with my, years ago. They were doing their thing, but you just didn't know. They hid it. And to my, some of the things people take to the grave. And I think even the Sexy Red, some of her songs, I think I heard one song in particular. I don't know if it's a parody or not, but I think it may have been a cover.
She is a parody. She is a parody.
Yeah, she's a parody for sure. She is for sure. But I heard one of her songs. I don't know the titles and stuff like that, so I can't think of it right now. But it was like a cover of the original of a song that she does now. And it was like in the 40s or 50s, some women did this. So it's always was there, but it was pushed to the side. Like
it wasn't anything that should be glamorized, for sure.
Absolutely.
It wasn't like, I need to do that. It was always like nobody. When did it become cool to be a whore, or a hoe?
Yes.
Like when it's,
yes.
And it's just, again, it's been glamorized, because now it's like, oh, well, the whores are getting the rich men and all this. It's like, we are not showing them the benefits of being grounded, having family, not being super promiscuous, as well as we forgot a lot of just how to be sacred. We've gotten so much into this animalistic mindset and these practices, first launched by other people that have planned co-ops and intelligence and all that against us. But now it's almost automated to now we run it ourselves. They don't really have to do much. So we just gotta, we need to repent. That's first and foremost. But we have to, and I know it takes a Takes a lot to repent, but also very little. Super simple, but so complex. Um,
Absolutely.
but we just have to get our community back and be based on our principles, true Black principles, because I still don't think that they are completely lost and gone. I think, again, the noise is just, it's so much noise around that it's hard to even realize, like, who am I? It's hard to sober up off of all the evil and the lust and the glamour and and all of that. It's just, it's hard to sober up in a bad environment. So
So true. So true. And that word repent means to pick it up from the root, take it up from the root.
mhm.
And I think that's definitely necessary. I went across your video, and as we begin to wrap up here, I went across one of your videos on Instagram when I saw you mention the remnant of people that this, this awakening is for. I want you to take a moment to speak to that remnant. Anyone who's looking for that change, looking, they're ready to turn their back to that image, the things
Mhm.
that are ultimately here to divide our people. Speak to that remnant. Anything you would like to say as we wrap up today's episode?
To the sisters that feel a calling and feel that they are to walk differently in this time, walk differently, as I know it may be hard against your family, against your old friends, against your old lifestyle, against sometimes your sorority, your fraternity, or in the case of the men, fraternity, to all the brothers and sisters, plainly, that feel a calling and feel a will and have awakened to reality. Heed the call, but first and foremost, know from whom the call is coming. You know, it's one thing to heed the call and to be so on fire for the mission. It's another thing to know who is making the mission in the first place. And I really truly feel that if we can understand creator feminine and creator masculine, and we can understand who we were from the beginning, the principles that the Most High placed for us so that we could be gods and not just pure men, because it's a difference. If we can go back unto our Father, our Mother, the Most High, repent, understand your creator, you will look at yourself differently. You will look at your sisters and brothers differently. You will look at ants outside differently. A spider crawled on my face the other day. Did I freak out? No. It's a new me, y'all. It's a new me. But you will look at so many things differently. And it will be that's the only thing I'll say. Go curate that relationship with the Most High and the one from whom the call comes, and everything else will be established. But do not wait. Do not put it off. Do not think that you cannot come to the Most High as you are. Come to it. Now, I will say though, don't just keep coming as you are. Remember that this is a sovereign creator. This is the deity of deities, the king of kings and the queen of queens. Like, remember that. Have humility and reverence unto that, but still understand that mercy, grace, long suffering, and just again, him not forgetting who we are to him will also be your saving factor, and rest in that. But please turn your life around. Please. At the end of the day, please do that.
Right,
But
right. I'm
yeah.
glad you added that. So beautifully stated, man. It's been an honor and pleasure having you on. Do us a favor and just plug anything you would like, and let everyone know where they can find you, please.
Absolutely. So I have my two books right here for the sisters. If you want to understand some of the spirits that they have placed on us in the media, this is a workbook style book, fully colored. You can write in it. You can do some self-analysis yourself. This is more a critical analysis on our situation. You will also not only find out maybe what spirits have been placed on you by media, but you'll also be able to understand who the Most High called you to be, the Gavirah. You don't hear that a lot in the Bible or Hebrew or just in the world today. It will teach you how to be that biblically sound woman, modeled after the Proverbs 31 woman. And this will be kind of like the first start of you sobering up to, dang, they've been casting spells on me for a minute, and I got to come out of that. And then this book, this is fresh out the mind. Just hit the streets from hot to wholesome. This is going to be a guided workbook. So again, you can understand creator feminine. You can understand light and dark in femininity. You can let go of negative influences. You can become modestly sexy. You can regain your confidence on just how you should be even dressing for your body type, because we all trying to look like a certain person. But again, walk in your own lane. It's diversity on here for a reason. It's different species, classes, and animal kingdoms for a reason. And it's beauty and order in all of them, and recognize yours. You do not have to look like somebody else, be like anybody else. Just be you and be who the Most High created you to be. And so this will help you a lot with that, and understanding, again, the Most High from a feminine perspective, which will be key in, again, how you look at yourself as a woman, how you look at the Most High, as well as how you look at your sisters, and your reflections, which are your men. So, and my podcast for that will be coming out soon too. So you can go to Sister Reclaim Your Image, sister, not sister, sister, Reclaim Your Image, and you can go and find more merch details, as well as further articles.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much once again for coming on. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well. Shalom.
Let's go.